This is actually a pretty big news story. Trump has been given the tentative go-ahead to turn his cryptocurrency institution into a fucking bank. Do you have any idea how much power banks get in the United States thanks to fractional reserve banking? Do you have any idea how much legal authority banks have? They're basically over the Fed. They print our money. Also, it isn't FDIC insured, so they're laundering all the Gulf money. Upon final approval, World Liberty Trust will operate as a federally chartered national trust bank. The charter will allow World Liberty to issue, redeem, and safeguard USD1, the dollar-backed stablecoin that World Liberty launched last year. The stablecoin, whose reserves are currently custody with BitGo, is a market coin of $4 billion. Jesus Christ. Where's USD2? That's also a thing. Crypto is like the biggest money-raking venture that Trump's engaged since the second term of his presidency. Crypto is doing what it was always really intended to do from the start, which was just redo finance, but with a cloud of techno bullshit that makes it more difficult to regulate. That's the reason why some of the earliest adopters of crypto were always big banking guys to begin with. You know, watch Folding Ideas. This is potentially very, very, very bad. The plan has drawn backlash from critics who raise concerns about conflicts of interest. Elizabeth Warren said in a statement that, quote, "We have never seen financial conflicts or corruption of this magnitude." That's true. This on its own might be, alongside when Trump pushed to make him and his family completely immune to IRS audits in the future, the single biggest act of corruption in American history. And genuinely, it's getting up there in world history too. Like the president owning a stable coin bank that's getting powers of a bank, or like a crypto venture getting the powers of a bank. Is this like creating a personal bank for Trump? It's much worse than you think. The president is being given authority. This is so complicated. Like, I don't even understand it well enough to explain it. Banks have an unbelievable amount of power. Like, banks, okay, you know how people say the Fed prints money? The Fed doesn't actually print money. The vast majority of money in the American money supply that is created, we defer that right to banks. Through fractional reserve banking, banks create money when they loan. We've given them, like, the common conception is that banks have a ton of like liquid currency in their vault, or that they're expected to have some proportion of the money that they loan out kept in reserve. The truth is, when they loan out money, they are creating money. They're creating it. Banks are given authority by the Fed to create money when they loan it. They materialize it from nothing. They're given the authority to do this by the Fed, giving Trump the ability to do this, giving him even he can't do loans through this. He can't do loans through this type of bank, but he's still being given the authority and powers of a bank. So he's basically creating his own Fed. He's basically creating his own like shadow, I don't know how to put this, like his own separate financial power block that has, I need an expert to explain this. I need to find somebody who knows more. Who is this? Who are you? Do you know stuff? Tell me.
Overnight, while you and most Americans were asleep, Donald Trump engaged in the most brazen act of self-dealing and corruption we have ever seen. And while the world needs to know about it, because now the Trump family, well, they're about to be bank owners. You heard that correctly. Appointee approved Donald Trump's personal crypto firm to now operate. Donald Trump and his sons will be a bank owner. Here's why this is so brazen. The investors in this bank, you'll never know, completely undisclosed. The bank will not have to follow FDIC rules. It's a crypto company turned into a federally chartered bank. Oh, and by the way, just wait. Wait until the moment where Donald Trump uses your money to eventually bail out his personal bank to profit taxpayer dollars, because that's probably coming down the pipeline. Anyone can now funnel money into this bank.
Yeah, he can launder money infinitely now. There's basically like no way to track money that runs through Trump's family anymore. His crypto, between the ability to create money and the fact that he doesn't have to disclose where the money comes from, any institution can funnel like an infinite amount of money into him, and he can use that for whatever purposes he wants. Isn't this just a direct way of paying him bribes? It's a way of circumventing all the other forms of corruption that he's engaged in the past, which usually has some form of oversight, judicial or public. Now he can just do anything, basically. He could take out a loan from his own bank. Well, this bank doesn't have the ability to offer loans, but it does have the ability to launder money. So a more direct way of putting it would be like, rather than Trump having to materialize money from specific sources, he can basically just either through like force, like compelling people, he can just direct money into his bank, and then it just becomes it's like a black box, or like a information deletion machine. He's created like the one and only legal hack that allows you to funnel money with absolutely no oversight. The White House has said previously that neither the president nor his family have ever engaged or will ever engage in conflicts of interest. I guess I'd be pretty cocky too if I was like the best friend of the world's most notorious child sex trafficker, and everybody knew that, like Trump is like, everyone knows Trump raped and rapes kids, and he's gotten away with it, and there will never be any consequences for him. They're the most like obviously corrupt people in American history. It doesn't matter. It's not like he could say yes. He could say yes and it wouldn't matter. Zach Witkoff, chief executive of Liberty Financial and chairman of World Liberty Trust Company, said the firm submitted, quote, probably one of the most thoroughly reviewed applications in the history of the OCC. Obviously, Zach Witkoff is the son of Steve Witkoff, the world's most pro-Israel person. Steve Witkoff, remember? Sweet home Yerushalayim, do-do-do-do. His son runs is CEO of the Trump crypto bank. Remember? I heard somebody describe this as an economic weapon of mass destruction. I'm trying to. We keep breaking new bounds, but like this is a level of financial weaponization that I don't think is capable of being surpassed. I'm trying to think of. Oh, you're right. That was Huckabee. I'm sorry. You're right. I was mixing them up. Well, I guess then I'll say Steve Witkoff is about as pro-Israel as Huckabee is. So you can think of them as the same kind of guy. The son of Steve Witkoff being his fucking CEO, man. Jesus Christ. No, you're right. I mixed them up. In fairness, they don't do a lot to distinguish themselves. How likely is it that Trump will peg his cryptocurrency to the USD? Already has. It's a stable coin. The value of one coin is worth one USD. He's basically just replicated a traditional bank, except with no regulations. It's not a separate speculative currency. It's a stable coin. The value of a coin is already tied to the value of a US dollar. World Liberty Trust said it would be governed by a 5-member board that includes Zach Witkoff, his father's brother Robert Witkoff, who's former co-chief investment officer of the Chubb Corp, and Scott Alper, who is president and chief investment officer of his father's real estate firm, the Witkoff Group. It's literally all just like Zionist billionaires. Chubb Corp? Yeah. The other 2 members are Jeffrey Weiner, former chairman of... Let's just look up all of these people. 1 second. Robert Witkoff, real estate executive. Excellent. Jeffrey Weiner, chief executive officer of, LinkedIn. Played an instrumental role in LinkedIn's acquisition by Microsoft for $26 billion in June 2016. Yeah, I heard about that. Entrepreneur of the Year award. They're all the same guy. Oh, what about Aaron Basquet, huh? What about Aaron Basquet? Okay, not as much online at this guy, and I don't really care. I don't really care enough to dig any deeper. We all know who these people are. They're all just deep state people. Whatever. Just same guy in different hats. It's pretty grim. Obviously not much mainstream media coverage of this. It's comical levels of corruption. Now they know they can get away with it. I think it kind of goes beyond corruption. I feel like it actually transcends into its own, because corruption is like parasitism, right? Corruption is when you have a system and you have people who are, disproportionately or illegally benefiting from it. Or in some way taking advantage of their adjacency to it. But it kind of feels like the institutions we live under now are now designed to do this, which means it's not really corruption. It's not feature, not a bug. Yeah, past a point, it's not really parasitism anymore. It's like we're just all living on the back of a gigantic parasite.